Flipping is an easy and simple way to make money in OSRS. So in this video, I'll be flipping at the Grand Exchange for 1 hour starting with 100 mil, showing you how I find items to flip, the best items to flip, and easy ways to maximize your profit. As always, if you enjoyed this video, drop a like, it really helps me out a lot. And if we hit 200 likes on this video, I'll drop a 100 mil item flipping list in the description below. With that being said, let's hop over to the Grand Exchange and make some bank. I am at the Grand Exchange and we are ready to flip. I've got 100 mil in my inventory, and over the next hour, I'm going to show you how to flip with a 100 mil cash stack actively and exactly how I do it. Let's get started. I'm going to pull up the timer and start it now. And the first step with any flipping session is to pull up a price tracking website. I'm going to use FlipSmart.net in this video as I've been using it a lot recently, and I'm happy to announce we are officially partnered with them on the channel. Now, I'm going to go to the item browser feature and get ready to filter some items down. When you're flipping with a 100 mil cash stack, you kind of want to split your cash between two types of items, high volume items and low volume items. So we're going to start with filtering for low volume items first. And we're going to do that by going to this little filter tab here and doing items that are greater than 500,000 GP. I think that'll be a good place to start. And we're going to add a rule to filter out items that are less than about 15 million GP. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because we don't want to find low volume items that are too expensive for our cash stack, because we're going to want to split our 100 mil across all of the different Grand Exchange slots that we have to be as efficient as possible with it. So items between 500,000 to 15 mil each are going to fill this requirement very nicely. We'll hit apply and see what's returned. Yeah, and it looks like we've got a bunch of items here, but some are still too low volume for us to choose. When we want to flip low volume items, we need to keep in mind that items that are too low volume are just going to take too long if we're actively flipping. So I'm going to filter for items that have greater volume than 1,000, which is really going to narrow down our results. Okay, that narrowed it down a little bit more than I thought, but this will be a decent place to start for now. And we'll go ahead and list some of these items first. So we'll just filter it by margin. We're seeing that Trover parchments have about a 7K margin each, and I know that that's a very simple flip. So let's go ahead and start with flipping those. Looking at this graph here, and it looks like they're trading for about 790.5 we might be able to buy them for, and aiming to sell them at about 813K for about a 6.5K margin. These will flip pretty quick because the volume on them is quite good, but we'll start by listing this item first. So let's go ahead and do the Trover parchment. We'll list for 790 for 50. And we'll just try and flip 8 of those to start. Keep it really simple. Just put 6 mil into that flip. Now let's go ahead and just fill up our Grand Exchange with similar offers like this. We'll go back and find some more items. Let's actually filter for items with over 800 daily trades, because I think that'll give us a few more options here. Yeah, still not finding anything that I love. We could do the Dragon Pickaxe as well, actually. That might be a decent trade. So instead of going into the graph this time, I'm just going to trust that this is a decent item to go for. So we're going to list for 524,050 each. Basically, what I'm doing is I'm listing at the instant buy price and trying to sell, or excuse me, trying to buy the items at that price with the intent to sell them at the instant sell price, which will be profitable after tax. So we'll just list those two items to start. And let's actually continue to lessen our volume filter. Now, when you are flipping low volume items, you do want to keep in mind that there is a difference in volume that is like less than 200 trades daily and like over 500 trades daily. Those are two almost entirely different categories of items. And you always want to flip items with more volume generally, unless you are flipping overnight or you're really trying to make some risky trades. Items that are traded more tend to be a little bit less risky. So these margins are just really not that great right now, but I do want to flip some of them just for the sake of the video. So let's go ahead and do the Tome of Fire. It tends to be a very consistent item, and we'll list them for about 759,000 will be the target price there. I've been staring at numbers for too long apparently today. And we'll go ahead and we'll actually do a full limit of those at 15. It's going to run us about 11.3 mil. And we will get that listed. But I'll pull up the item browser here on the side. One nice item we could do as well is the Ornate Maul Handle. But we're going to list these a little bit lower, I think, than their current margin. We'll list at about 665,000. And we'll try to get close to a 10k profit on them. And we'll just do about 8 of them. It's going to run us 5 mil. And now that we have all of those listed, we're going to want to move on to our high volume items. So I just know right off the bat a ton of high volume items, but to walk through the exercise of actually filtering items down, we'll go ahead and pull this up again. So you can see here that we've got these items filtered. We're going to just clear the filters on everything here. And now we're going to rotate into our high volume items. Now, I actually already have a pre-built filter for items that have over 1 million daily trades. So I'm just going to use that. But if you wanted to find items with over a 1 mil daily volume, you would just go to the volume filter and put in greater than or equal to 1 million trades daily and clicking apply. We're going to filter these by margin to see what looks the best. And right off the bat, Adamant Darts are really sticking out to me. They tend to not have a margin of 11 GP at most times, and they've got a volume of 4.4 million daily trades, so it tends to be a super safe item. So let's go ahead and list the Amethyst Darts down here, and we'll buy them for about, looks like we can maybe buy them for like 211 GP with the intent to sell them back at around 225. We will list that and let it do its thing. It looks like we are on margin here, according to FlipSmart. I'm also going to take some recommendations from FlipSmart as well. So I've got the plugin pulled up here too. And I want to see if we can find a flip for us to work with. Let's take a look. We'll refresh and put it on the active timer. So I'm not seeing anything that sticks out to me greatly besides the Aether runes. So we'll go ahead and list a couple of these for 772 GP each. Just like that, we can get that flip listed. And yeah, I think that's going to be the only one we do because I don't want to dive too far into the low volume stuff. But actually, we can do these coconuts as well. That'll be a decent option here. So let's go ahead and get those listed, buying them for 2,230 GP each. Looks like we're going to try and sell them around 2,290, so that'll be a decent trade. And I'm going to pull up one more item here. Maybe we'll flip something like Soul Runes or potentially Blood Runes. Those tend to be really solid flips. And it looks like we might be able to buy them for 343 with the intent to sell at 350. Don't know if that margin is really worth it for us though, but we'll do it just for the sake of the video. So let's go ahead and get those listed. Soul Rune, I think, what did we say, 342 GP? Actually seems like we might be able to buy them for that. Makes the margin a little bit more worth it. And the Aether runes already bought, so that's awesome to see. We'll go ahead and list them back for 797 GP. That is a 136k profit if we can squeeze that trade through. Although it did buy really quickly, and when you have a trade that buys really fast, that tends to mean you bought it for too high of a price. Although for high volume items, it is a little bit less concerning. And with that being said, we already are making profit on it, so a strong start to the video for sure. So I did want to compare flipping with 100 mil to flipping with like 10 mil or 25 mil because they do change slightly. As you get more GP and you make more money flipping or you just make more money within the game, you do want to make sure you're taking more risk when you flip on the Grand Exchange, because if you just consistently flip high volume all of the time, you eventually will cap out on your hourly profit, and you're going to need to start trading more low volume items like we're trying to do here on the top. Now, while everything sits here, I'm actually going to pull up the item browser again, and we're going to look for items with a little bit less volume, because all the trades that we're currently trying to trade on this top row here on the Grand Exchange, they're all out of margin already, which means they're already quite competitive, and we'll need to find something else to flip to actually make a decent amount of money. And we'll pull up the item browser. We'll do the same thing we did before, where we're looking for items that are greater than 500,000, but less than 15 million. And we'll also put in here, actually, I think that's good for now. It says that we have a volume filter on as well, so we'll just remove that filter. And we'll filter by volume again. We're going to add a restriction of 600. So anything over 600 trades daily is going to show up here. Oh, wait, I have to flip this. Okay, no, it did filter. Okay, we are all set. So now it's looking like... Oh, wait, what happened to... This filter did not apply. We need to make sure this is on as well. Oh, I messed this up. Less than. There we go. Okay. So now we've got a fair bit more items here. Still not a ton, though. But we could maybe try and flip some of these dark bows, since they have the best margin right now. And we'll put that in place of the Trover Parchment, because that's been sitting the longest. So let's go ahead and try and flip some of the dark bows here. Dark bow, we'll try and buy them for 902K. And we'll get 8 of them. That is the 4-hour limit on this item. By the way, every item in the game, if you didn't know, has a 4-hour limit. This limit gets reset at the end of the 4-hour period, which lets you buy the set limit again. So most PVM related items have a limit of 8 every 4 hours. For example, the dark bow is within that limit. Some items have a limit of 15, some have a limit of 11,000, 18,000, 25,000. It really depends on the type of item. It's just something you want to be aware of, because if you were to say list 10 dark bows, well, no matter what, over the next 4 hours, we can only buy 8 of them. So you would never buy the other 2 dark bows, even if you listed them for, 25 million coins each, they would never buy. We'll let that sit. We're already 13 minutes into the flipping session here. It looks like we're about 60k in profit from the Aether runes. Everything else is just slowly buying right now. And we're going to shift some more items around here. We're actually going to lower our volume requirement even more, because we're still sitting on a fair bit of cash. And I want to make sure we are getting a lot of GP onto the exchange. So we're going to lower it to trades, over 400 daily trades. And that helped a little bit. I'm still not seeing amazing margins, especially for stuff like the Carol's Leather Top. Like, that's a really nice, easy item to flip, but I just don't love the margin on that right now. Although we might have to settle for it, but we'll take a look here in a sec and see if that's the case. So let me see. Okay, it no longer has as good of a margin as we thought. So let's continue to look through here. We could do Black Mask. Heavy Ballista as well would be a decent option. But yeah, I'm really not loving any of these items. So I'm going to cap items over 250,000. We're going to change our filters a little bit here. And over 30, but less than 30 million. Because we need more options to trade from. And that actually helped a lot. So we're going to do the Brimstone Ring next. That's the first item I saw here on this list. And the Brimstone Ring is a really easy to trade item. Honestly, I've been trading this pretty much since it came into the game. And it is the perfect item to trade with a 100 mil cash stack. Super easy, simple, straightforward flip. Only comes into the game through one source that I know of, off the top of my head, and hopefully that's accurate. And it's just a very simple, easy flip to do. We're also going to cancel the Tome of Fire and the Ornate Maul as well, and collect our profit from the Aether Runes. Now, those actually ended up flipping for a 136k profit, so we are already up 136k on the session. Super easy, simple flip, made our money on it, time to move on. Now, the Berserker necklace also looks like it could be a decent margin, as well as the Aram's robe skirt, so I'm going to try the robe skirt, I think, and we'll see if we can flip a few of these. Same as before, we're just going to list a little bit above the instant sell, which is basically the instant, not the instant buy. It's the instant sell price is your buy price, because if someone came onto the Grand Exchange and instantly sold an item, that is the low price and the price that we want to buy near. So we're going to list the Aram's robe skirt for 1,942,650, so slightly above the margin. And we'll just get 4 of those for now. It's going to run us about 7 mil. And we'll try and find some more vault items here in a minute. But I did want to list the Amethyst darts back first. So 224 GP is what we're going to list them for. And we'll let that do its thing. That's going to be a 100k profit pretty much if we sell that. So that's going to be solid. And let's go ahead and get more low volume items listed. The Archer's Ring. Archer's Ring is a great flip. I'm happy that this popped up on our feed. We're going to list the Archer's Ring around 2,655,000 maybe. And we'll let that do its thing. We'll get 8 of those in here as well. And now we have space for another item. I think I'm going to go high volume here. And I'm thinking maybe we do the Blood Runes. So let's pull up the items again as well. And go ahead and list Blood Runes. Wait, I have my filters on, so I actually can't. So let's change the filters to high volume items. And let's see. We could do Dragon Arrows as well. Actually, I have been flipping the Dragon Arrows a lot recently. And since they're going to be turned into the Seeker Arrows soon with the Blood Moon Rises update, they've actually been an amazing flip. So we'll go ahead and list these for 2,880 each, with an intent to sell them at around 2,950 for a 12 GP margin. And if we try to flip a full limit of them, it's going to be too much, so we'll do about half a limit. It's going to run us about 14.4 mil. And with another inventory slot, we're going to do another high volume item, just because our low volume items have not been working much. And you can just see the power of high volume. Now, it's always great to flip low volume items as well, but we do have a lot of high volume items working right now, so you're going to stick to that. If you have items that are working for you, definitely keep flipping them and trying to make money from them, because if something's working, why would you change it? We're going to flip sharks next, I think, so let's go ahead and list the sharks. They're currently buying for about 781 GP each, so we'll list there, and we'll just buy a full limit. It's going to cost us about 7.8 mil, and we'll let that do its thing. Now, the coconuts are holding a strong margin, which is nice, and they are buying a little bit slower than I would have hoped, but they're doing fine regardless. Does look like the margin on the Brimstone Ring closed a little bit, so I'm just going to check the Brimstone Ring graph once more and make sure that we're in a good spot here. They did move up, but the sell price moved up as well, so we're going to adjust our offer. They're currently buying for about 2.84 million, so we're going to go slightly above that. 2.841, and we'll let that do its thing. Now, that was a lot of action right at the start of the session, so I do apologize, but we're in a slightly better position now, and we can just do a little bit more commentary on how to flip with 100 mil. So again, when you are flipping with 100 mil, you want to make sure you're getting low volume items in, as well as your high volume items. Active flipping is obviously very different than if you were to flip overnight. Overnight flipping, your tolerance for low volume items can be a lot higher because you'll have more time to buy low volume items over a longer time frame, which makes low volume it's not like less risky, but it's easier to trade them over a longer time frame because you have more time for the trade to go in your favor, as compared to high volume items, which you can do overnight no problem as well, but they're easier to do actively, as you can see here. So what I do in between while all my flips are listed is I'll either search for more items on my item browser, or I will just monitor my trades or watch a YouTube video, honestly. Any other kind of content you can do on the side. You can fletch, you can do other Grand Exchange money makers, but yeah, we're basically just monitoring everything and making sure our trades are on point. If you have a low volume item that doesn't buy at all after like 8 to 10 minutes, you should probably cancel it and cycle it out with a new trade. So I'm actually not going to cancel the dark bows, but I am going to move the price up to 906k each, and we'll start buying those. And a quick tip, I'm using the FlipSmart plugin as well as the website. And when you download the FlipSmart plugin, you get these highlighted borders around your items. And if the border is green, that means your offer is within the current item's margin. And if it's red, it means your offer is currently outside the item's margin. Now, it's okay if it's red. It doesn't mean your flip is not going to succeed. It just means at this current exact moment, the price is outside the current range. So, like for example, the dark bow here, you can see we listed at 906k, but the instant buy and instant sell prices are 903k and 936k. So it's green because we're at 906k, which is in between those two numbers. Hopefully that makes sense. And again, if there's any questions, guys, please leave them in the comments below. I love teaching people how to flip an OSRS. I find it so fun, and it's just an amazing moneymaker to make gains and just build your bank. So please let me know if there's any questions in the comments below. We're about 38 minutes left on the flipping session, so we're coming up on that halfway point, and we really only have one successful trade through. So we're gonna have to move some items around and actually find some trades that are gonna work for us. So because of that, I'm going to take some drastic action and basically search for some new items to flip. We're gonna cycle into more high volume stuff again, just to make sure our profit is flowing, but we will try and get some lower volume trades through as well. Just at this time, the high volume seems to be working, so we're going to run with it. We're going to do the Ruby Dragon Bolts E next. I'm looking on FlipSmart and seeing that these are trading for about a 14 GP margin after tax, which is quite good. It is important to note, though, that these are not the easiest items to trade, the Ruby Dragon Bolts. They are a high volume item, but they're a little bit more on the expensive end, and they are subject to more fluctuation compared to some other high volume items. So if you're comfortable and you have a little bit of flipping experience, you should be able to trade them no problem. But if you're brand new, you might want to avoid those. Still waiting for the amethyst darts to go through. I'm actually going to maybe modify this and bring the price down. We'll let it sit for another 3 minutes before we do that, because getting a 100k profit on the amethyst darts would be solid. So I want to see if that actually works out for us. But for the dragon arrows, we can definitely cancel these and see what we can do with the 2000 that we did end up buying. I'm going to pull up the website again just to make sure that we can sell these for a decent profit. And it looks like we can, but we might sell them for a little bit higher than where they currently are. So let's try and sell them for 2,944. That's going to be 5.98. That's still not a great margin for us, so maybe we modify this just slightly up. Okay, 16k, I mean, we'll take it over basically a break even if that does end up selling. Actually, we might be able to get a little bit more out of this. Hold on. Let's put it there. 20k profit, we'll take that for sure. Oh, sorry, I didn't realize the item browser was still up. And yeah, we're just basically waiting right now to see if these trades end up working out for us. The Ruby Dragon Bolts E margin did seem to move a little bit, so just something to keep our eyes on. And we're going to turn around and sell these coconuts as well. 2,296, that's what FlipSmart was showing as our profitable price. That's going to be a 20k profit. I thought we'd make a little bit more there, but that's all right. We'll take that. And even though we are on margin for those brimstone rings, they're currently not buying, so just something to watch out for. We're also going to move the amethyst darts down to 222 GP each, which will be a 77k profit, which is perfectly fine. We do have about 16 mil in the inventory, so I'm going to search up some lower volume items that we might be able to trade. One item that came to mind is the Armadyl Godsword. Now, this was something that was in our filtering, but we didn't choose to flip. And it's got about 700 daily trades, and it's about an 8 mil item, so it's not super expensive. I do want to make sure we get some lower volume trades in here. So let me see. Maybe we cancel the ruby bolts, as those ran away from us pretty much immediately. And we'll go ahead and list the Armadyl Godsword. Just to show you exactly how I'm listing this item, you'll see on the daily view that the chart is going up here just a little bit in intraday. And we're just going to list pretty much right on the margin. So we'll buy them for about 8,025 GP. And we'll try and sell them for about 8.2. We'll try and get, I think we can afford 3 of them. So we'll try and trade 3 of those real quick. And we'll sit back and relax. There seems to be a lot of competition on the market today. And we are trading at about peak time. So peak flipping time tends to be, well, it's not even flipping time. It just tends to be the peak player base time. Tends to be from like 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time before things start to drop off a lot. That's when you have all your Europe players on. That's when the East Coast players start coming on for the most part. And the West Coast players in the US, they tend to be active as well, or at least some activity on the West Coast. So that's when you're going to have your peak player base counts. You tend to have the lowest player base counts outside of that range. So when you have peak time flipping, it tends to be very competitive. Margins are smaller, but trades usually go faster. Right now, it just seems that there's a lot of people placing trades, so prices are a little bit all over the place. But we did buy all the dark bows. We're going to sell them back for 934,995 each, which will be an 82k profit if we can squeeze those through, which will be excellent. Take a sip of water here. It's a fair bit of commentary to get through today. Got the item browser, was just sitting up there as well. Pull that down. And the Armadyl Godsword margin has already moved, so we're going to do 8,027,000 just right off the bat, just to stay competitive with that. We do want to make sure we buy some of those. Sharks are slowly buying. That's going to be a decent flip for us if they all come through. Really hoping the amethyst darts sell, but things are taking a really, really long time, which is not ideal. The brimstone rings are not working out for us either, so we're going to pull up another item here on our price tracking website. Let me go ahead and take a look. And I don't know if you should go high volume or low volume, but I am going to take a look to see if we can find any low volume items that look good. Just briefly taking a look on the side right now without showing it, but here, I'll pull it up real quick for everyone. And we'll do a volume requirement of 400 or more daily trades. And I need to add a rule to make it less than, we'll do 20 million just to kind of broaden our range a little bit here. See what's going. Hopefully we can get something on the cheaper side though. Looks like we might have to spend a little bit more money to get a larger margin, but the Dragon Warhammer with a 120k margin seems to be a decent option for us. So let's go ahead and try to trade that. We'll buy it for about 15,465,000 or something like that. Let's go. Oh, and the Armadyl Godsword's bought as well. So let's turn around and sell those. 8214. And I think we can sell that. Yeah, 68k profit. We'll take that. If it trades quickly, that'll be a good profit. The Dragon Warhammers we're buying for 15,465,000, but we'll bump that to 72 just to make sure our offer is competitive, and we can get, fortunately, only one of those flipping at a time. So that's a bit unfortunate, but not a huge deal. We'll also turn around and sell these Archer's Rings for 2,708K. Or I mean, that is right, technically, but 2,708,000. Wow, I am all over the place with the prices I'm saying today. Now, when you are flipping like this, you just want to keep in mind that trade volume is very important. And active flipping, you need to really be on top of your sessions to make sure that your margins are not moving away from you. And that's very different than if you are flipping overnight, or you're like passive flipping where you're not monitoring things as closely. Active flipping, you need to be very on top of your trades. This is something that's changed from previous flipping metas. 10 years ago when you're flipping, you didn't need to be as active with your trades, even if you were like quote unquote active flipping. And it's just because things have gotten so much more competitive. There's way more flipping tools now. There's more bots flipping than ever before, because bots, it's kind of hard to detect flipping bots. They just sit at the Grand Exchange with the trade window open 24/7. And as far as I know, Jagex doesn't monitor trading that closely, which is why price manipulation does happen sometimes. But bots definitely collude on flips, and you just need to be very on top of things when you are flipping. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, I personally don't recommend active flipping, but if you are learning how to flip, active flipping is a great way to learn. You definitely want to try and learn how to overnight flip. It's going to be the highest ROI on your time. And of course, we already have guides on overnight flipping on the channel, so be sure to check that out if you haven't already. But active flipping is just not the same as it used to be a couple years ago. So anyway, we'll keep pushing through here. We're currently at a 173K profit, which is kind of crazy considering we're over halfway through the session. It just seems super, super low from a profit standpoint. But keep in mind that a lot of our flips have not sold yet, so probably a little bit of an underestimate of where we're sitting from a profit standpoint. Let's give this, I guess we'll bump up the margin on the Dragon Warhammer just a little bit, because the margin did move away from us. And that's a very aggressive trade on the Dragon Warhammer, but I think it'll work out for us. Let this sit and do its thing. We do have some selling action, which is decent. These coconuts are really going slow, though. I'd really like for those to go through. The Armadyl God Swords are working out, and the Dark Bows are selling as well, so that's not too bad. I'm going to knock these down just slightly. In case our price got, because I think our price got reported. Yeah, 934,995. So we just knocked that down a little bit, try to sell our trade a bit faster. And we did finish on the Archer's Rings, which is great. We did make some, actually we lost money on the Archer's Rings, a slight loss on those, about 1,000 each, which I didn't realize. I didn't calculate the tax properly on that. So even experts make mistakes occasionally, apparently. And we'll go ahead and get another item going here. I'm looking at the Bando's Godsword right now, but it does look like the margin might not work out for us. Because I want to trade something that's like a lot bigger of a margin. This is currently a negative margin, but just because a price website displays a negative margin doesn't mean you can't trade the item for a positive margin. It's just you kind of don't want to put your focus there. It just takes more time, and sometimes the item won't swing your way as quickly as you'd like. So I'm just going to pull up some more items here. The Elidness Ward could actually be a decent flip. And yeah, that looks perfect. Now, when I'm flipping actively, I tend to try and find items that are just trading very consistently. And the Elidness Ward in this setting does fit that criteria. So let's go ahead and list the Elidness Ward. We'll buy it for 3,733,550. We'll get 8 of those, which is the buy limit. It's going to cost us about 29.8 mil. We'll let that do its thing. And yeah, we'll just monitor our trades, continue to make sure that everything is selling. And just remember to mix up high volume and low volume flips. That's going to make it a lot easier for you. High volume provides more of that consistent income, where those lower volume items will provide a little bit more profit in the long run. But the margins are quite low right now. I am not going to lie. These are some of the smallest margins I've seen in a couple days. So that is a bit unfortunate. We did get the Dragon Warhammer, but it's telling us to sell for a lot lower than we can definitely get on this thing. So let's go ahead. 15,739,000. Wait, that's a loss? Wait, we gotta list this higher. Let me pull up the Dragon Warhammer again. And we'll see if we can get a sell offer here. Yeah, like, I think we could sell the Dragon Warhammer for about 15,798,000. That should be relatively easy. I can't believe that's still a loss. I'm not calculating the tax properly in my head. Let's do a lot higher than 885. And that's going to run us about 50K in profit, which is down from the 100K profit we previously had. But I still think that's going to be possible, because if we're looking at the graph here, like, and less than an hour ago, 20 minutes ago, these were trading at about 15.9 mil each on the high end. And now they're trading like, what, 100K lower than that? So we should be able to get it for that higher price. That's the thing with active flipping. When you're making these trades, it can be a little bit difficult to constantly calculate your margin on the fly. I've definitely made mistakes before of calculating a margin incorrectly and losing money on it. It happens very often, especially when you're trading items this quickly. So it's important to remember the price that you buy for. I'm not doing a great example of that, but it's also just another ode to how other styles of flipping will tend to not make you more profit necessarily, but just be easier in the long run. And you can see we did sell that Dragon Warhammer for 15,885,000. So I'm actually going to try and sneak in another 2 of those. We'll just do 1 actually, because we don't have enough money. We'll sneak in another Dragon Warhammer, see if we can get one. We'll actually bump it up just a little bit to be over the active margin. And if we can just trade another one of those real quick, that'll be another 100K in total profit, so that's nice. And the Dragon Arrows just sold as well, which I think actually ended up making us a slight profit, 20K profit, which is solid. So now that we have items moving, it's making me a lot happier. So another item I like to flip is the Arcane Prayer Scroll. It currently has a 34K margin. And this doesn't have the most daily trades on it, but it's probably going to work out for us. Probably going to work out, aka I have no idea if it's going to work out, but it is the perfect item for the amount of cash we have. So we'll put about 10.3 mil into this trade, buying at 5,164,000 each. And hopefully those do come through. We'll look at about a 60K total profit on that if it does at the current margin. Armadyl God Sword still selling, although we're outside of the margin right now, so we'll just bump this last one down a little bit. Still plenty of profit on that one. About 19K profit on the last one there, so that's excellent. Currently about 22 minutes left in the flipping session. It's crazy to believe we've already almost been flipping for 40 minutes. And we're still not seeing the profit numbers we'd like to see. So we're going to keep adjusting our trades, making sure that we are selling things. And yeah, continuing to cycle through items. It's important when you are active flipping that your focus is on selling items. Like, not only buying, but selling. You want to make sure your items are moving on the Grand Exchange constantly. And if they are, then you're probably going to make a decent bit of money. Even if that requires you canceling trades early or just selling off offers of 1 or 2, that is completely normal. In this day and age, it's very rare that you list a limit of 8 in an active flipping session and they all buy at that price, especially on lower volume items. High volume's a little bit different. You can be a bit lazier with the flip, but you can see how our session has translated a little bit more into the low volume flipping compared to our high volume flips that we listed in the beginning. That doesn't mean high volume is bad. In fact, I'd like to get another high volume item here, but the flips we've got right now are all currently on margin. They're all green boxes, so that's great. So I don't see any reason why we don't try and get these trades through. I know it's a lot of commentary, guys, so trust me, I know it gets a little bit overwhelming at times, but I want to provide as much information as I can for all of you. And as always, do drop some questions in the comment section below. I'm very happy to answer them. And be sure to check out other guides on the channel if you want this kind of information in a more condensed, concise format. If you are new to flipping and you need a beginner place to start, we've got videos on the channel covering that as well. So we'd love to have you here on the channel. Be sure to subscribe if you're enjoying, drop a like, and let's keep flipping. Also, I actually do have a question for you guys. Let me know if you would like to see this 1 hour flipping style with smaller cash stacks, larger cash stacks. I'm happy to do it with any amount of money if people are finding it valuable. They're actually not too hard to record. I actually do enjoy flipping actively for you guys and teaching you how to do it. So let me know what you want to see next. So for most of this stuff here, it's not exactly working out as planned, so we're going to sell these sharks back for 808 GP each. That's going to be a 55k profit on half a limit of sharks. That's actually not bad at all. If they do sell, that is, knock on wood. And we have these coconuts still selling. We're going to move the sell price down just a little bit here, since we're currently off margin. But at that price, we're back on margin, 11k profit for the rest of those coconuts. That's perfect. And we have 38 mil, so we need to make sure we find another item. Going to go to the item browser, and like I said before, we're going to find some high volume trades next. Let's go ahead and see what we've got here. Basically, when I go to my high volume trades, I just filter by largest margin first, because I know everything on this list is 1 mil plus in daily trades. So everything here is going to be safe. And I know for a fact the Lizardman Fang and the Blighted Ancient Ice Axe are both awesome flips. I do prefer the Blighted Ancient Ice Axe a little bit more, so that's what I'm going to go for next. They're currently buying for about 309 GP each, and selling for about 320 GP each. So I think, I'm trying to decide if I should trade that for 1 GP less, but we're just going to go ahead and list it for its active margin here. 4.6 mil into that trade. Not too much at all. And oh wow, the price on those sharks dropped a lot. Hopefully that recovers quickly here in the last 17 minutes of the session, because I'd really like to see a little bit more profit there, to be quite honest with you. And man, these dark bows are going slow as well, which is a bit of a shame. But let's go ahead and sell these Elidness wards back. 3827 550. I think that is a solid profit there. 52k in profit. It's about 0.5% ROI on the money invested into that flip, which is decent. I really do want these Armadyl God Swords to finish up as well. We're actually going to cycle out of the Arcane Prayer Scroll because we have way too much money here. And we're going to try and flip something a bit bigger. I'm going to check couple items here. Maybe like an Amulet of Torture might be a decent way to go. A little bit more costly in terms of how much money we want to put into it, but let me check the Necklace of Anguish as well. I like to flip Zenyte items because they tend to trade very consistently. And yeah, you can see here the Zenyte, or sorry, the Necklace of Anguish has a 48k margin, which it's kind of expensive, but we have the money right now, so we might as well try and get this. 166 which does lower the margin quite a bit, but we'll go ahead and try and flip 3 of them. And the Amethyst Darts did finish as well, so that is great. Going to go back to the item browser and pull up some more items here. Basically focused on high volume right now as well. We could do Zolver Scales, try and push well, we don't have the money to push a full limit there, so maybe we won't do that at this current time. I might come back to it at the end. Let's do the Lizardman Fangs as well. Super consistent item. Love trading the Lizardman Fang personally because I find it super simple. It always trades between like 11 and 20 GP, and you can just kind of set and forget the flip and let it slow by. Got a high limit as well of about 13,000, so really decent item. Costs 221k for the limit of that, which is crazy, and has a pretty decent profit return for us. So 5 GP margin, it's going to be very solid. Also not subject to tax because it is under 50 GP each. That is a huge hack for high volume items. Anything under that you sell under 50 GP, not subject to tax, which is quite nice. Keeping an eye on things, 15 minutes left in the session, so we're going to have to start thinking about wrapping trades up soon. The sharks are selling for not what we want them to be honest with you. Let's go ahead and move the coconuts down in price too. We got to get these off and clear up another slot because we really need to flip stuff. And we're not going to move the price on the Elidness wards quite yet. We just did list those back. And dark bows, I have a feeling those might have moved as well. 929, 995. And that's a bit of a shame we're lowering our profit margin on that, but that's what you have to do. You have to keep these items moving and clear up new Grand Exchange slots, because if you don't, then you will sit on items forever. And it's sort of why I prefer longer time frames for flipping in the current flipping meta. Like, it sounds weird to say, like, flipping meta, but there really is flipping metas that go on right now. And the flipping meta right now is very tool heavy. It's very, like, bot heavy, but bots have been here for a while. But anyway, you just want to make sure you're moving your prices consistently and you're keeping an eye on things. Now, what should you do at the same time as flipping on your Grand Exchange if you're active flipping? Well, some people like to do things like tan leather, the spell, or plank make. That's another great money maker, and that'll add another like 600 to 800k an hour, which is always welcome when you're flipping, because flipping is always about making money. Now, we did finish up on those coconuts. I think we made a total of like 15k in profit on those, which in the long run, probably not worth flipping. So let's go ahead and find another easy item to flip. The demon tier looks like it's a decent margin right now, so let's go ahead and do the demon tier. Don't have a ton of money, so we're not going to be able to flip a bunch of them. But we can start with... Actually, we can flip more than I thought. Oh, we can flip a full limit. Look at that. Not very good at math, but I can trade items on the Grand Exchange. So I just noticed that that was covered up again, so I do apologize. And we did get our first Necklace of Anguish in as well, so we're going to keep an eye on that. Hopefully we can buy another one here. I might actually cancel it and just sell the one back that we have and try and trade this consistently on the margin so we can actually like lock in that profit before it moves away from us. Be a 40k profit if we sell that off. It does look like the margin came down slightly, but it's probably just one buy offer, so I'm not going to freak out too much on that. I also just noticed we have the Elidness wards going as well, which is great. We get that last one off, it'll be a 52k profit there, and we're currently up about, what, 35k on those as well, so that's great. I think this is the first video where I've made multiple, like, math mistakes. And typically I'm a little bit better with it. But that's what you got to deal with today, guys. I hate to say it. See, I can bump this down and get a 10. I guess we'll do it. We'll just get a 10k profit on it. It's like not what I want to do, but we really got to free up this slot. So, or yeah, 9k profit on that last one. Still a decent trade. It'd be about 3k in total profit, or 54k. Not so bad. These demon tiers are buying quite fast, so let's turn around and sell them for their high price. That's typically what I'll do. If an item buys a lot faster than I anticipate... Oh, wow, those demon tiers are going crazy. That took no time at all. If an item buys faster than I anticipated, I tend to cancel the trade and try to sell back the quantity that I've already bought, because it generally means an item could be crashing if it buys really fast and you don't expect it to. So I usually recommend canceling that trade and selling back what you have to just try and get out of, or just trade the volume that you have at that current margin and just lock in that profit. You can always go back and buy more, later, so you shouldn't stress too hard about canceling a trade early to sell back the quantity that you have. We might actually bump up the offer price on the Lizardman Fang just a little bit, because we are running out of time here. We have 10 minutes left, so I do want to make sure our trades are moving. This Armadillo Godsword is the bane of our existence right now. But at least the dark bows are selling, so that's definitely a welcome change. When you are flipping as well, you'll generally have one flip that does really, really well for you, and that's normal. Like, flipping is luck-based, and there are days where you're going to have bad luck. Like, pretty much today we've had bad luck since the start, but it's getting a little bit better here towards the end. And you're going to have good days where, like, every trade you're making is just amazing. Flipping tends to be a lot better when there's major updates that are announced or major updates release, because there'll be less people actually flipping. There'll be more people actually in the game experiencing the update, the big plus. You also have more trade activity across the whole game, so more people are buying and selling items because a lot of people are online and they're not focused on the market. And there's new items that come into the game sometimes, right? Like, new items get hype. There's new metas that are discovered which drive markets. So active flipping on update days or like a week before an update, that actually is very good, and you'll make a lot of money doing that. But active flipping doesn't really shine in a normal economy setting, and we still are dealing with the leagues effect right now. We have people playing leagues, which means less people on the main game, less trading activity overall. So we're just keeping an eye on things. Less than 10 minutes left in the session here. So just trying to buy as much as we can before the end here. And yeah, just monitoring everything. Look at this guy traded right underneath my price, 618k. So that's a bit unfortunate. We'll knock this down, 2614. So yeah, as you can see on screen right here, this instant buy and instant sell price, that's basically what the OSRS price wiki has reported most recently for the items buy and sell prices. So that's how you know where an item is trading at. And as long as the border is green and you're within that range most of the time, you'll be in a very good spot. So let's see, we're going to try and get one more item squeezed through. We'll only have time for a high volume item, so we'll have to pull up some high volume examples. And let me see what we can do here from a high volume standpoint. We could try some red chins. I don't know if that's going to trade fast enough, but we'll try and give it a shot. Red Chinchampa. Looks like they're buying for about 1,356 GP, so we'll do like 58. We'll just try and do a couple thousand of those, 4,000, and see how that does. I would also keep in mind when you are active flipping with any amount of cash, if you filter items down and you go for items with the largest margins, well, that's also going to be the item that is the most competitive. Other players can filter the list the same exact way, and of course people want to flip items with the largest margins first, because that's going to make them the most profit. So just keep that in mind as well when you are flipping large margin items, or you are going for the largest margin. You should expect other players to be trying to get in on that profit as well. We're not going to move sharks, we're going to leave them. We'll leave the Armadillo Godsword as well. I do want to make at least a little bit of money on that last one. And we'll just sit and see what comes through here. We'll cancel what we have for the Ancient Ice Sacks. Sell them for 320 GP each. That's only a 7k profit because we weren't able to buy many of them, unfortunately, or the margin did move on us. Keeping an eye on our trades. I'm going to pull up the shark price graph actually to see what happened. I think someone probably dumped a lot of them. Yeah, as you can see here, we just got unlucky with that trade. There's nothing wrong we did on that trade. It just happened to be as we were trying to flip that item, someone dumped a massive amount of volume. Now, this would be an excellent opportunity to actually buy more at around this 600 or 761 GP price point. We could even buy them for like 763 in hopes of them coming back up to about 800 GP each. that will typically happen. If an item does crash very hard and then it will typically rebound price within an hour, especially if it's a high volume item. High volume items, if they crash, they almost always come back in a short time frame. So that's something that I'm pretty confident will swing back in our direction. The only time that won't happen is if the item is down in price on like the week or the day, or, sorry, not the day. If it's down on the week already and it just keeps dumping, that can happen, but most of the time, it comes back quick. The only other time it might not is if an update comes into the game where it does change the future state of the item. That could change things as well. Since we have about 5 minutes left in the session, we're going to want to start canceling stuff that hasn't already bought. So let's do that for... Really, the only thing we have is the Lizardman Fangs that are in that situation. So we'll sell these back for 22 GP each. We'll leave that. It's a 16k profit. Look at that. 4,000 and a 16k profit. Tax-free, 22% ROI. Hard to beat Lizardman Fangs. So really good flip. Really great flip for smaller cash stacks as well. Like 10 mil, 25 mil. Awesome flip. Even way less than that, 1 mil. Because it costs about 220k to get a full limit on that. So super easy. But for everything else, we'll just let it sit and do its thing. Not super happy with the profit today, but once these items sell, we'll take a look at the profit, and I don't think it'll be as bad as we think. But I will let the Chinchampas try to buy here. Actually, no, let's cancel it. We'll try to get even quicker trade in, if you can believe that. With the amount of time we have left, I think we might be able to squeeze something. Let's see if we can do... We gotta find something that's really high volume, actually. Hold on. It's got a decent margin. We already did Demon Tier, so we can't do that. Amethyst Arrow, though, looks perfect. I did forget about the Amethyst Arrow. I should have flipped this earlier, but that is alright. We'll go ahead and list a limit of those, which is going to run us about 2 mil. Hopefully they can buy at this price. We can sell it back, no problem. And live an easy life with some profit, guys. And yeah, this has been basically an hour of flipping actively with a 100 mil cash stack. You can see it takes quite a lot of work to actively flip in this day and age. So it's just, again, really need to be on top of your trades. We are making a decent amount of money. I mean, what are we at? Like a 500k profit right now, probably, which is, that's okay. It's definitely not horrible for a 100 mil cash stack, but it's definitely on the lower end of what would be acceptable. You generally will be able to make more than that, 800k to 1 mil an hour, which is where I think flipping with a 100 mil cash stack generally makes sense, because you might be a player that accumulated some GP of about 100 mil, and you just don't have other moneymakers really accessible to you yet, like Vorkath or things like that. But of course, if you have more efficient PVM moneymakers at the state of the game, you do want to use them. This is where I am a big proponent for overnight flipping. I said it a lot in the 10 mil guide as well, but overnight flipping, it just solves all of your problems. Like, you can buy multiple limits of an item overnight, so any item you buy and sell is way more profitable than if you were just to actively flip it. You have more time for prices to fluctuate, so you can buy for an even lower price than if you were actively flipping and sell it for likely an even higher price. It is harder to set up than active flipping for sure, but once you learn how to overnight flip, it's just so much better. It takes way less time. You don't have to sit at the Grand Exchange and trade. So again, highly recommend overnight flipping compared to active flipping. But you can definitely do this, and active flipping is profitable, but it just might not be as profitable as if you were to do other types of flipping. But anyway, 1 minute left here in this session, so we'll basically just leave these trades to buy for another minute or so, and then anything that hasn't bought we'll just cancel, and we'll wait for everything to sell and come back for a profit total. And active flipping it's super fun. I mean, I love flipping in general. If you're new to flipping though and you don't know where to start, I would highly recommend checking out some beginner's guides. I have my own guides. There's other people who have good guides too. Flipping Old School, he's got some good guides on learning how to flip. So definitely check them out as well. Now that we're at the minute mark, let's go ahead and cancel any trades that haven't come through yet. at all. And yeah, we'll leave the rest of the flips in to sell. We'll come back, we'll take a look at the total profit, and we'll see how much we made. I left my items to sell throughout the day and everything has sold. We ended up making a total of 647k. I think we could have made a little bit more profit if we focused on lower volume items. If we focused more on that 400 to 500 trades daily range and bought items that were a little bit more expensive to flip, I think we could have made around 850 to 900k. That being said, 647k is not bad at all, so we'll take it. Anyway, that is it for today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy this one. If you have any questions about how to flip in OSRS and you need some help, be sure to drop a comment below. I'll answer your questions. And let me know how much you can make in an hour flipping with 100 mil. I'd love to know. I'll see you all in the next video.